Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday. Happy Freaky Friday to all you freaks out there. I hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money, and there's no better day to make some money than Freaky Friday, guys. We, of course, have our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay coming your way in today's video. And as we do every single Friday here on the video series, we do our Freaky Friday giveaway. The rules are very simple. All you have to do is comment Freaky down below. And if today's parlay hits, one lucky commenter will win a free $25 Amazon gift card. That's right. It's easy. It's simple. You comment Freaky down below. And if this parlay hits, which I got a pretty good parlay to go ahead and share with you guys in today's slate, if the parlay hits, one of you lucky commenters will win a free $25 Amazon gift card. Only 3 games on tonight, but I got some pretty good value in today's parlay. It's a 5-leg parlay. We're using DraftKings today, plus 482 odds over on DraftKings, just shy of our plus 500 goal we usually have for Freaky Friday. But first, guys, before we dive into today's picks, a quick little recap of how we did last night. And make no mistake, guys, these playoffs have been a little tricky so far. We have one good day, we follow it up with a bad day, but that makes me very confident for today's slate because we didn't have a great day yesterday, which makes me feel like we're going to have a really great day today. If you watch the video for the past week, it's kind of how it's been. Good day, bad day, good day, bad day. We had a good day yesterday, a good day on Wednesday, bad day yesterday, so I'm hoping for a really good day today. We went 1 and 2 on our single bets. Not terrible, but obviously not good. We did hit the Jokic prop. That was a huge sweat. He finished with 36 points plus assists, just barely cash. Karl-Anthony Towns, it's frustrating because we called the bounce back game from him. Unfortunately, we picked the wrong category because he had a really good scoring game in game 3. Unfortunately, though, rebounds and assists did not do much. And I'll be honest, Lou Dort, you're officially invited to an all-expenses-paid trip to Do Not Bet Island. Dude, how do you play 35 minutes in a playoff game and you finish with a final stat line of 2 points, 6 rebounds, and nothing else? He had a little bit of foul. He had 4 fouls yesterday, but my goodness, how do you play 30? It's not as egregious as the Tony Snell game or even, I guess, the Kyle Kuzma game. He's kind of replaced the Tony Snell game. But 35 minutes in a playoff game against the Grizzlies and you can't score more than 2 points and you only get 6 rebounds. I mean, it is egregious. So welcome to Do Not Bet Island. You can stay there for a little while. Then for the parlay perspective, frustrating because they both just barely missed. Jokic finished with 23 points, Cade 24 points. Both did not shoot the ball particularly well, specifically Cade. I think he was like 10 for 25. So we definitely should have cashed that parlay, but unfortunately, our guys just didn't come through for us in the shooting category. But have no fear, guys. We got a new day, which of course means some new picks. So let's go ahead and share those picks with you guys right now. All right, guys, jumping right into the outlier screen. Our first leg of our 5-leg parlay comes from the Celtics Magic game, 7 p.m. tip-off. We're going Derek White of the Boston Celtics over 19.5 points plus rebounds. We are using DraftKings, and yes, these are all alternate lines in today's parlay. This one is minus 170 over on DraftKings. And what do I always say, guys? With these alternate lines, you expect the data to be really solid, and the data is very, very solid for this Derek White prop. He's cashed in each of his last 10 games, including the 2 games of this series versus Orlando thus far, averaging 22.5 points plus rebounds per game over his last 10 games. He doesn't really blow through the number all that much. There are a lot of close cashes here, but they are cashes nonetheless. Go ahead and stretch the data out to the entire season view. A 68% hit rate on the year, 53 out of 78 games. He's cashed the over, averaging 21.1 points plus rebounds per game overall this season. And from a head-to-head perspective, including both games of this series so far, 5 of his last 7, he's cashed the over against Orlando. That is, of course, a 71% hit rate, averaging 21.71 points plus rebounds per game across the last 7 matchups with Orlando. And again, more importantly, he's 2-0 so far in this series. Now, all that data by itself is really solid. However, there's one big fact here, and that's the fact that Jason Tatum he's listed as a game-time decision, but from everything I've been reading, he's listed as doubtful for Game 3. So like I said, the data on its own is solid, but if we narrow down the data for when Derek White plays, when Jason Tatum doesn't play, it actually gets even better. From a head-to-head perspective, 2 times this year, he's played Orlando without Jason Tatum. Game 2 of this playoff series, and then back on December 23rd. Both times versus Orlando without Tatum, he's cashed the over. But maybe more importantly, 8 straight games this year, including playoffs, he's cashed the over without Jason Tatum playing. Tatum's only missed 9 games this year, including playoffs for Boston, but in 8 of those 9 games, White has cashed the over, averaging 24.11 points plus rebounds per game this year when Tatum doesn't play. So 8 straight games without Tatum, Derek White's cashed the over. So really good numbers here. Obviously, they need, with Tatum being out, they need that extra guy to step up. Jaylen Brown obviously is a very good candidate to do that as well. But I think Derek White's a really good spot to bet. He's been really good so far in this series. I like him a lot as the first leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, the second leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're moving on to the Pacers-Bucks game, 8 p.m. tip-off. We're going Damian Lillard of the Milwaukee Bucks over 19.5 points, minus 210 odds over on DraftKings. Look, we took Lillard the last game. We're taking this game over 19.5 points. Listen, he played 37 minutes in his first game back from injury, and I get it. It was bad to take him maybe first game back from injury, but he played 37 minutes. He took 13 shots. He finished with 14 points, unfortunately. He just didn't shoot the ball all that well. He finished the night shooting, if you look at the numbers from game 2, 4 for 13. So the volume is there, which is why I'm taking him again tonight. You know he's going to play a ton of minutes. He's not really on a minutes restriction. You know that he's going to go ahead and take a healthy amount of shots as long as he shoots a little bit better than he did in game 2, which I think is very possible. I think he's got a pretty good chance to cash this bet. And again, we know the matchup versus Indiana is very solid. Defensively versus point guards, they are bottom 10 in the NBA this year. So it is a good spot. And head-to-head, I mean, really good numbers. 9 of his last 13 games against Indiana, he's cashed the over. I mean, come on. A 69... Pause for applause. 69% hit rate on Freaky Friday. You know that's got to be one we add to the betting card here. 22.54 points per game against Indiana over the last 13 matchups, and a 77% hit rate overall this year. The data seems to point to a very solid player prop here. Yes, we understand he's coming back from injury, only his second game back from the blood clot thing, but he's playing a lot of minutes. There's definitely no minutes restriction. Playing a ton of minutes, taking a ton of shots. As long as he just shoots the ball a little bit better, we should go ahead and have our cash in our hands. And obviously, the stakes are very elevated in this game because they're down 0-2. This game, they lose to Indiana, it's over, but they're at home in Milwaukee. I think the Bucks win today to make this a little more interesting. I think Lillard is a big reason as to why they win today. And for our third leg of our 5-leg parlay, sticking with this same game, we're going Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks over 29.5 points. Minus, I think it's a little heavy juice, minus 265 on DraftKings. Look, is it lazy to bet this player prop again? Possibly, right? We've been tailing Yanni a lot in this series, but look, I don't see how you can't. He's Superman in the series. And like I just mentioned with the Lillard prop, this is do or die for Milwaukee here. If they do not win this game tonight, you can cancel the series basically. It's over. It's done. It's finished. Not only is Milwaukee finished, but honestly, if they lose this first round series, and especially if they get swept, I think this could be the end of Yanni in Milwaukee. This whole team could get blown up in the offseason. And so there is a level of extra importance in this game. I do think Yanni is that type of player that rises to the occasion. And Indiana so far in this series have proven they just can't stop him. Data across the board is really solid. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over. So far this year, 60% hit rate. It's obviously a very high. Even for an alternate line, it's very high. But a 60% hit rate on the year, averaging 30.46 points per game. But the real thing I want to look at here is the head-to-head data, including playoffs. 9 of his last 11 games against Indiana, he's cashed this over, an 82% hit rate, and he's averaging 36.45 points per game against the Pacers over their last 11 games. Again, so far in this series, they played 2 games. He's cashed it with flying colors both times. 36 points in game 1, 34 points in game 2. We know from a minutes perspective, he's going to play a ton of minutes, 38 minutes in game 1, almost 40 minutes in game 2. You know he's going to play a ton of minutes. And he's taking a high volume of shots, 23 shots in game 1, 20 shots in game 2. Again, I understand that he's obviously shooting at a very high volume. You know, if he goes a little bit lower than that, we could be in a little bit of danger there. But across the last 11 matches, he's shooting 66% from the floor against the Pacers. And obviously, his style of offense, he scores more in the paint. He's not really taking a ton of threes. The big thing also is the free throw number, taking a lot of free throws in this series as well, and shooting moderately well thus far. Like I said, a little bit lazy to keep tailing the same player prop, yes, but and obviously betting just the superstar players to score in the playoffs. But obviously, Milwaukee's a little bit of a different case because they don't really have much. It's Yanni and Lillard, and then maybe Bobby Portis throws in a little bit there, and but they don't have a ton. So Yanni has to play Superman, and obviously in a do or die situation, which I think tonight is, I think he's going to have a monster performance. So that's our third leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, the fourth leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're moving on to the Lakers-Timberwolves game, 9:30 p.m. tip-off. We're going Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves over 29.5 points plus rebounds, minus 210 over on DraftKings. Again, alternate line, guys. The data is going to be pretty solid. 9 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 35.1 points plus rebounds per game over his last 10 games. So far this year, a 62% hit rate on the over for Ant Edwards. 50 out of 81 games, of course, including playoffs. He's cashed the over, averaging 33.19 points plus rebounds per game overall this season. From a head-to-head standpoint, the data is solid. Not great, but solid. 6 of his last 10 games against the Lakers, he's cashed the over, averaging 28.9 points plus rebounds per game across the last 10 matchups. Now, so far in this series, he's cashed it in both games. In Game 1, he had 22 points and 8 rebounds, just narrowly cashed it, but cashed it nonetheless. And in Game 2, which was a little bit of a rough night for Minnesota, he did cash the over with 25 points and 6 rebounds in that game. I'd say he's played well so far this series, but I'm still waiting for that signature Anthony Edwards performance. Now, they're back in Minnesota coming off a tough loss in Game 2. I do think Minnesota has a very strong chance to win this series. The Luka thing they haven't figured out. I don't think they will figure it out. It really comes down to, can Anthony Edwards rise to the occasion and kind of replicate what he did earlier in the playoffs last season in the first 2 rounds? Can he replicate that here in this year's playoffs? Again, from a minutes perspective, you know he's going to play a ton of minutes, 35 minutes in Game 1, 40 minutes in Game 2. The big thing, he's just not shooting well, but the volume is there. 8 for 22 in Game 1, 10 for 22 in Game 2. So he's cashed the over in both games, but he could have done way more. Like, the volume is certainly there to keep taking this player prop. Again, it is an alternate line, of course. But obviously, he's playing a ton of minutes. He's taking a ton of shots. He's just not shooting well. Hopefully, that starts to turn around here, but the volume of shooting is certainly there. The minutes played, all that stuff. Even the rebound chances, 11 rebound chances in Game 1, 10 rebound chances in Game 2. There's so many opportunities here. And the Lakers, they are actually a solid defensive team, which I give J.J. Redick and that team all the credit in the world because they looked like a defensive nightmare earlier in the year. And then from basically the time they traded for Luka, and one of the biggest concerns was, well, he traded for Luka, how are they going to play defense? They become a better defensive team with Luka than they ever were before. So shout out J.J. Redick. I honestly didn't think he was going to work as a head coach, and he's honestly been, in my opinion, one of the most impressive head coaches in the league this year, what he's done with the Lakers. So you could say, oh, well, it's easy when you have Luka and LeBron and whatever, but I'm telling you, it's really impressive. But I do think Anthony Edwards has a really big game here tonight at home in Minnesota. Again, the volume is there that we need. And again, he hasn't shot well, and he still cashed the over. So even if he keeps playing the way he has, we still have a good chance to bet. But obviously, if he really gets going, he really has a good shooting night, we could have a really solid cash in our hands here in terms of this player prop. So that's our 4th leg of our 5-leg parlay. And our 5th and final leg of today's parlay, guys, speaking of Luka, sticking with this Lakers-Timberwolves game, we're going Luka over 34.5 points plus rebounds. Very heavy. I think this is the heaviest alternate line we have, minus 340 over on DraftKings. Data solid across the board. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 38.2 points plus rebounds per game over the last 10. Even last 20 games, 15 of his last 20 he's cashed the over, averaging 39.2 points plus rebounds per game over his last 20 games. And overall this year, a 58% hit rate on this over. 30 out of 52 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 36.63 points plus rebounds per game overall this year, including playoffs. And the head-to-head data, 9 of his last 12 matchups versus Minnesota, dating back to last year's playoffs with the Dallas Mavericks, and including this year's playoffs with the Lakers. Really good numbers so far now in playoff basketball versus Minnesota. Again, so this series, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's played 7 playoff games against Minnesota since last year. 7-0 in the playoffs against the Timberwolves this line. So far this series, he's crushed it in both games, 37-8. 31-12. So a really good performance from Luka. So why would I not go ahead and take it again? He's playing over 40 minutes a game right now in the series, 40.4 in Game 1, 42 minutes in Game 2. And again, kind of like Anthony Edwards, he's shooting a little bit better than Edwards, but he is leaving some opportunities on the table. Again, he shot 12 for 22. In Game 2, he had 9 for 20. He could be doing even more in the rebound chances. 14 rebound chances in Game 1, 18 rebound chances in Game 2. So plenty of opportunities. Plenty of volume. Minnesota just has shown now 2 years in a row they have no answers for Luka. He could cash this just in points alone, if we're being totally honest. But love this spot for the 5th and final leg of today's parlay. All right, guys, quick little recap here. We've got Damian Lillard over 19.5 points. Giannis Antetokounmpo over 29.5 points. We've got Anthony Edwards over 29.5 points plus rebounds. Luka Doncic over 34.5 points plus rebounds. And we also have Derek White over 19.5 points plus rebounds. You parlay all 5 together, and you get a parlay a plus 470 odds over on DraftKings. So it actually has dropped a little bit since we started recording, so that means that the lines are going up on these. But plus 470 odds, really strong value, and I think all 5 player props make a ton of sense in today's slate. Guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We'll be back tomorrow with another NBA player prop video. But until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Freaky Friday. Have some freaky fun. And most of all, let's go ahead and make some money.